Hello guys, welcome to today's tutorial. In the previous tutorial, we were able to set up a form that takes user registration, first name, last name, and then the person's gender. Then if we go to the report page, we get the report, and we were able to implement a delete button. When you click on the button, it deletes the record for you. So in today's tutorial, we are going to add edit button. What the edit button will do is when we save a record and on the report page we add edit button here. So when we add the edit button, what the edit button will do is that we can edit the first name to be something else, last name to be something else, or we can even change the gender. So let's proceed with this. I'll go to my project source, the CRUD folder. Meanwhile, you need to watch the previous tutorial before we join this, please. Alright, so we're going to edit the report page. So the report page. I'm using Sublime Text Editor. So good. So here is the report page. I'm going to add the edit button. To do that, you need to create a new table row. Without creating the row, create an anchor tag, href. So we'll be creating a new page called editor.php, and we pass the ID of the item we want to register, just like we did here. So you do editor into then question mark item ID is equal to, just like we did here. You check and say data into square bracket ID, and we'll say edit. Close the A, then come and close the table. So because we've added another column, so we need to add another column to the column setting. So with this we have this. Good. So we have a new edit. So with the edit, it takes us to a page called editor.php question mark item ID is equal to 7. So as you can see not found because we've not created the page. So we'll go ahead and create the page. So the editor.php, just like the registration, it will just be like the registration page. So what I'll do is I'll copy the old registration page, that's the index.php, create a new page, paste it and save it as editor. So I create a new page, save it as editor. So now when we come here, we'll be able to see our registration form on the edit page. But what we want to do is not registration, is edit. So come to the page you just created from the registration page, or change the registration to modify record. Now the first thing to do here is to pick the ID that will pass to this page. In this case, the variable we are using is item ID. So we'll go to the top of this edit to this editor, pick the ID. So say if is set, let's say if not empty. So when we say if not empty, get item ID. It means if a get variable, which in this case item ID, as we did here, check if it's having a value. In this case, it's having value 7, so it is not empty. It is not empty. It will only be empty if nothing was passed to it. Assuming if this is done, there's nothing in this value variable, so that means it's empty. But so far there's 7 there, it's not empty. So that's what we are trying to do here. When it is not empty, that means there's something in it, so we want to pick what's in it. Item ID. Otherwise, if it's empty, if the if statement is test if it's empty, else means otherwise. If it's not empty, what should happen? If it's not empty, that means you are not editing anything, so we'll send you back to the registration page. To send the person back to the registration page, you do echo script, just like we've been doing. Windows.location.href.index.php. Good. Alright. To make sure it is done, we'll put exit here. This is just for security reasons. If maybe the person has disabled JavaScript, this might not work, but to just stop the person from accessing this page, you put exit, because we only want you to have access to this page when you have a get variable item ID and there's something in it. Good. Alright, so we are not only picking the ID, we'll be using the ID to fetch the record that is there. So to do that, we'll go to the record data. Okay, let's just say user data, for instance, is equal to, we'll be using this item ID to pick. Let me go to the database so that you see what I'm saying. The CRUD. Good. This is a CRUD. We'll be using the item ID to pick the record that is having this ID. So to do that, I'll do MySQL fetch. MySQL query connect. Now select all from registration. The registration is the table we're working with, this one, registration, where now it's the item ID that we are having. So that means, and the ID column is just ID here. So we say where ID is equal to item ID. Yeah, that's just switch right. Alright, good. So now after doing this on top, we'll now come to the form itself. Now where the first name is, we're gonna say value is equal to, we are pasting echo. We are using the variable we save all the record in is user ID. So this is what we're using to display the record in the form. So I come and say in the first name, we say echo user data. Now the first name column is first name, so first name. Good. Now the last name also, value echo user data. Last name is last name in the database, so last name. Gender. Now in this case, we use the first option to echo the gender. So the gender column is gender, so gender. Good. Now instead of submit, this will be update, the button update. Alright, so go back to this modify product. You see that we have all the person detail. So this implies that the user can now modify this modify this, then click the update button, but we've not done the update yet. So what I'll do is I'll come to the button, give it a name, let's say update. The name of this button is update. Note, this update is just by my own discretion. You can choose any name you want, but let's choose update because it's an update button. So we now come here, I will let you know the reason why we are actually coming to the top and not below this. I'll let you know that later. So what we want to do is, if is set post, the form we are doing now is we are working with posts. If we want to check if the update button has been clicked. So if it set post update, the name we give to the button is update, so we should use update here. If you use a different name, make sure you use that different name there. Alright, so if the update button has been clicked, what we just want to do is to pick the first name. We need to escape the characters. So you want to say post first name. Last name. Then the gender. Once again, I'll recommend you, if you're just joining us, I'll recommend you to watch all my previous tutorial before you come to this. It will go a long way to help you. Now we have picked all the new values, but don't forget, we need to update. For update queries, you need a primary key to let the query you are running know what record are you actually updating. In this case, the primary key is 7. The ID. The ID, which is the primary key, is 7. So we should be updating the record. At the same time, make sure that we are updating the ID that is having 7. We are updating the first name, last name, and gender of the record with ID 7, not just any record. The record with ID 7. So to make sure we are editing the right record in our form, we have to come and create additional input, which will be hidden. So say input type hidden. Just say item ID, and here we come and display. The user data contains everything, so we come and display the ID inside. But here you see the type is hidden. That means we're only using it for something else. It's not to be shown to the user. So the name is item ID, so we can easily come here and say item ID is equal to post item ID. This one you don't need to escape it because it's not input by the user. It's just item ID that we are keeping in the form. Good. Alright. So to run your query, just say q equals MySQL query connect update registration set. Now we'll be setting each column to their respective value. Now the first column to work with is the first name. The first column we are updating is the first name, so we do update registration set first name is equal to first name. Last name, that's the column, is equal to the variable last name, comma, the gender is equal to gender. Now after we are done seeing all the columns we are updating and putting their respective value, we come and say where id is this id is equal to item id. So just gonna say if the query runs successfully, we say echo, we will be echoing position alert record updated. So when you do this, record updated, and that should be it. So now let's see what we've done so far. I come here. Good. Now the first name, we'll make it add day 2. Let's just add 2. Last name, we'll call it great, and I think we'll make the. Now you see that there are 2 males here. This implies the first one is the actual value that was there, and the last male and female are the options that was in the form originally. Okay. So we can change this to female, update it, it's a record updated, and we have this. You see, it's now added to create last and female. Let's check the back end and you see it has changed. So let me get back to the code and let you know why we kept this query on top of the if else. See, when we carried out this update, as you know, this is the point where we are fetching the data of that ID. So if you put it down, it will run after we've updated the records. So when the first query is running after we've updated the record, definitely it will have the updated record. So you don't want to put all this on top. You want to put it down the update operation, so that when the update is done, that is when it will fetch the data. Alright, so on this page, you can still maintain this. So edit, change whatever value you want, confirm the update, go back to the report page, you have it. Alright, thank you very much. Make sure if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to this channel, you like, and if you have any question, comment to the page. Thank you very much.